Okay. Okay. So email it to myself.
O Blessed One, Shakyamuni Buddha.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome. I'm so grateful for your coming. So this morning is about gratitude. So we'll begin with the liberating prayer, and then we'll do a meditation, then we'll talk about gratitude, and we'll meditate on gratitude.
O Blessed One, Shakyamuni Buddha, precious treasury of compassion, bestower of supreme inner peace, you who love all beings without exception. The liberating path. Your body is a wish-fulfilling jewel. Your speech is supreme purifying nectar. And your mind is refuge for all living beings. With folded hands I turn to you, supreme unchanging friend. I request from the depths of my heart, please give me the light of your wisdom to dispel the darkness of my mind and to heal my mental continuum. Please nourish me with your goodness, that I in turn may nourish all beings with an unceasing banquet of delight. Through your compassionate intention, your blessings and virtuous deeds, and my strong wish to rely upon you, may all suffering quickly cease, and all happiness and joy be fulfilled, and may holy Dharma flourish forevermore.
And so we can meditate. In meditation, it's good to have a good posture. So try to have a straight back. And you can sit up straight in this chair. And gently close your eyes, close your mouth. And just begin by imagine that you're watching your breath. Imagine you're seeing your breath as you breathe in and breathe out. And you may notice a feeling at the tip of your nose. You may notice it feels cool as you breathe in and warm as you breathe out. But the difference is barely noticeable. But try to find that subtle difference in feeling. And then when you find it, just allow your whole mind to relax into that feeling. And if you find that your mind turns away to something else, just let the something else go. Just let it go and bring your mind back. And again, allow it to relax into that feeling. You may notice that your mind becomes still. If you keep your mind on the breath, it becomes still. And from this stillness comes a deep feeling of peace and contentment. It's almost as if you think it would be nice just to stay like this all day. So turn your mind now to any feelings of peace and contentment that you have. So you can recognize these feelings and you can bring them back again anytime. So when you arise from meditation in a few moments, just see if you can keep that feeling of peace and contentment. So now you can begin to let go of your concentration. And when you're ready, you can bring your mind back to the room and arise from meditation. So, in How to Transform Your Life, this text, which you can obtain for free in a digital version, or if you prefer a hard copy, you can purchase a hard copy. Venerable Geshe says, everything we have and everything we enjoy, including our very life, is due to the kindness of others. In fact, every happiness there is in the world arises as a result of others' kindness. So, would you agree with that? Just say yes. Because this is the wisdom of an enlightened being. And it's a big mistake to disagree with enlightened beings. So what does this mean then? That if all of your happiness comes from the kindness of other people, what does this mean for us? Is that what we normally think? I suspect not. Normally we think we create all our own happiness ourselves. I did it myself. Yeah. And so, but all the good things that come into our life, we think that we created them. And all the bad things are other people. Yeah? No? So, if we think like that, then it's very easy to develop negative minds towards other people. Minds of anger, minds of jealousy if we're not getting the things that we want and other people are. Minds of disappointment, minds of impatience. And when we see something that we think is going to provide us with happiness, we develop uncontrolled desires. So all those delusions come from this mistaken view that it's other people's faults if I've got any problems, and it's all my own actions that create all my own happiness. So We'll check that out in a minute. But if we do the opposite and think that everything that is good for me comes from the kindness of other people. Everything we have and everything we enjoy, including our very life, is due to the kindness of others. If we think like that, then why would we get angry with other people? Why would we develop jealousy? Why would we develop desires, attachment, uncontrolled desires, and so on? So we can begin to realize that if we are able to turn our mind round by thinking about the kindness of other people, then all these delusions that cause us so much trouble from life to life, not just in one lifetime, because when we're acting upon our delusions, we engage in hurtful actions. If we engage in hurtful actions, we create negative karma that we carry with us into our future lives. So we, not thinking about the kindness of others is essentially guaranteeing that we'll create more suffering and that we will experience in our future lives. So it's really good to, you can imagine it's really good to think about the kindness of other people. So we can begin to do this by just asking you the question, who are you? Who are you? We have a body, we have a mind. How did we get this body? It didn't suddenly appear overnight. And then same with our mind, just didn't suddenly appear overnight. It's been developing over a long period of time. And initially, we get our body from our parents. In Buddhism, we talk about a continuum of mind. One moment of thought leads to the next moment. And so there's no beginning to our mind and there's no end to our mind. So our mind of this life comes to us from the last mind of our previous life. So although we get our body from our parents, our mind of this life is heavily influenced by the mind that we had in previous lives. So if you have a lot of joy in this life, or if you have a lot of pain and difficulties in this life, part of the reason is the minds that you had in previous lives. So if we come to think about who we really are, it's just a culmination of countless events. Think of all the events that you've experienced throughout your life, all the actions you've engaged in, all the effects of these actions that you've experienced. And we're changing moment by moment. We don't stay for even a moment. If you think, we can recognize changes over long periods of time. If you have a photo album, for example, you'll know that the person you are today is different from the person you were when you were 15 or so. Yeah. Because you can check, your body's obviously different. And if you can remember, the mind that you had at 15 is very different from the mind you have today. But if we can think at a more subtle level, we can realize that these changes are occurring moment by moment. They don't just happen the day after the photograph was taken, or they don't just happen last night. They occur moment by moment by moment. And they're occurring right now. Your body is changing right now, moment by moment. And so your mind also is changing moment by moment. So we can say that the person who came in, some half an hour ago, is different from the person who's sitting there right now. Yes? No? So part of our problem is that we forget about all the influences that have impacted upon who we are today. All the experiences that we have, all the kindness and the harm we think we've received from other people, if you just think throughout this life alone. So we tend to develop, because we forget about the kindness of others, as I said earlier, we tend to develop these minds of anger, jealousy, uncontrolled desire, feelings of arrogance and pride, and miserliness as well, and also depression. A lot of depression is coming from disappointment and feelings that there's not enough. There's not enough happiness. We haven't generated enough happiness for ourselves. And we come to think that everything we have is like an entitlement. Everything that comes to us is like an entitlement. We're entitled to have this. And so we develop this mind of arrogance. So first of all, what we're saying is this mind of gratitude will enable us to change our mind around and enable us to realize how interconnected we are to other people. As I said, all our happiness, everything we enjoy comes to us from the kindness of others. We never think like that, do we? So it's almost like we're thinking we're isolated. Well, someone is not isolated. Yeah, I've done this many times myself, so everyone has a get out of jail card. So further, in gratitude, there's two stages of it. One is to recognize all the goodness that we have in our life. Just to recognize it. And secondly, to realize where it comes from. And how other people are involved in bringing this goodness to us. So, for example, take your cell phone, or mobile phone, sorry. Not the phone you have when you're in jail, but it's just a mobile phone. So take your mobile phone. We have, it provides us with many advantages, that we can connect with other people. We can speak to other people, and receive messages and images and pictures and so on, and keep in contact with other people. And so we purchased it from somewhere, but we didn't make it ourselves. All we did was hand over some money or change some numbers in an account, and then we get this thing. But someone actually made it. Someone created the individual components of it. Someone else assembled it. Someone else put it in a box. Someone else wrapped up the box, put all the boxes together, shipped it from China or Taiwan. to the UK and someone distributed it, maybe sent it through the post or put it on the shelf in a shop. So the benefit that we derive from just using our mobile phone is dependent upon all those people who were involved in that. They call it a supply chain, or that whole supply chain from the initial design of the thing, and then the manufacture of the components, the assembly of the components, and so on. All hundreds and thousands of people involved in that whole process, and we just forget about it. We just naturally pick up the phone. Oh, it's my phone, yeah. As if we're the only person involved in using this thing. But if you take away all those other people, then there is no mobile phone. You don't have a mobile phone if you take away any of these other people. And so all the benefit you can derive from using the mobile phone is dependent upon the existence of all those other people. And this is true for everything. The very clothes you wear, the tea or the coffee you had this morning. You know, someone planted the coffee bush, and it takes years for the coffee bush to start producing coffee beans. And then someone harvests the beans, puts them in a sack, brings them to wherever, and the beans are roasted, and then somebody grinds them and puts them in a bag and brings them to you. And so you can have coffee in the morning. If it wasn't for their actions, you wouldn't have coffee in the morning. When did we start drinking coffee in the morning in the UK? When I was growing up, it was just tea. Nobody had coffee or instant coffee, which is disgusting. Now it's disgusting, but then it was okay. You know? So if you check everything that you enjoy, there's so countless other living beings involved in your enjoyment of it. Yeah? And then begin to think about the qualities that you have. You know, when did you come into this life with all your skills and education and qualities that just snapped overnight? It happened over a long period of time. And you had teachers, for example, I presume. You had parents who were teaching you things, and you go to school. And no matter how boring and awful it is, you acquire the ability to read, the ability to write, the ability to count, and so on. And so you use these abilities in your daily life. You develop understanding of how the way the world works, and so on. And yet we forget about our teachers, you know. They're just my teacher, you know. Something that was entitled for me. Yeah. So what we can do then is to begin to turn this around. It's just by meditating and thinking deeply about it and contemplating all the benefits we get from other people. So, well, let's meditate on some gratitude. So just take something very simple, like what you had for breakfast today. Or if you didn't have breakfast yesterday, something you enjoyed this morning, something that you received benefit from this morning. And begin just by thinking about the benefit you receive. The benefit is the difference between your experience of having the object and not having the object. And then begin to think about all of the people who are involved in bringing this object to you, enabling you to enjoy, to have this benefit. And you may think, well, they're not specifically doing it for me. But that doesn't matter. You still receive the effects of their actions. And you can think, yes, but I'm paying for it. But again, the money used to pay for it comes from other people. Either you inherit it or you work for it. If you work for it, someone gave you a job. So really think and imagine all the individuals, all the persons involved in your enjoyment of this object and the benefit you receive from this object. And then perhaps the thought arises, I wonder how they are. I wonder if they have the same benefit and enjoyment. And from this appreciation of the enjoyment that we experience, the benefit we experience, we begin to think, I want them to have good experiences too. And perhaps I can do something so they can have good experiences too. I want to repay their kindness. So you begin to realize how just contemplating how we receive benefit from the actions of other people, it's so much easier to develop a mind of love, wishing others to be happy. And when this mind of love and gratitude is arising in our hearts, then anger and jealousy, entitlement, disappointment is not arising. It's pushed out. So just sit with these minds of gratitude and love. And now extend this contemplation to include everything that you feel is good about your life today. And begin to realize how the number of persons involved in that, bringing that goodness to you, expands exponentially. Thousands, millions, billions of people connected. Involved in the goodness that you have in your life today. And as you appreciate all of the goodness that you receive through the actions of others, note how you have this feeling of gratitude or thanks to all of those people. Begin to realize how you become more aware of your connection with other people. So now when you recognize this mind of gratitude, simply make a determination to remain mindful of it. in your daily life. So now you can begin to relax your concentration. And when you're ready, you can arise from meditation. So if we think about our life up to this point in time, maybe we recognize some turning points. A turning point is like when we're heading in one direction, then an event happens, and we change direction. We have a turning point. So I guess there's probably several turning points that we've had throughout our life to bring us to this point in this moment in time. So, in this meditation, which was probably not going to last very long, in this meditation, I want you to think about any turning point that you have, one that just comes to mind. And then ask yourself, what would my life be? What would my life be like if that turning point had not occurred, if that event had not occurred? So maybe it's a good thing, maybe it was a good thing, maybe it was a negative thing. But in reality, it doesn't really matter. Because we're trying to find the value of our present life. And so if we compare the value of our present life with what our life would have been like if that turning point had not occurred, then we can rejoice, we can be thankful for that turning point in some way. Maybe it was good, maybe it was negative, doesn't matter. In essence, we have no idea how our life would have turned out if that turning point had not occurred. But we can be thankful, we can express gratitude for that turning point. So again, sit in meditation for a few minutes. In my case, it was like a phone call that I received from a friend who said, "There's this monk coming to town to teach meditation. You should come along." That was 30 years ago. And here I am now. So I suddenly feel great gratitude towards that friend who made that phone call. And you have other things like that in your life. So we're simply developing a sense of gratitude for who we are today. And recognition of some event in our life. And considering what our life would have been like if that event had not occurred. Perhaps it was a negative experience. Perhaps it was positive. But we can be grateful for either of those. So, in this meditation, we can realize that we can be grateful about things and events in our past. Not just how we can come to realize how these events have influenced and determined the goodness we experience today. And so again, we can feel gratitude, even if the event has been negative. Or we feel the event has been negative. So now you can relax your concentration. And when you're ready, you can arise from meditation. So if we practice this mind of gratitude, I think it heals a lot of issues that we have. We come to recognize even people that we think have harmed us are in some way bringing us to this present moment. And we can begin to appreciate this present moment, who we are. Just look at yourself, you're just sitting here listening to Buddhist teachings in a Buddhist center. How cool is that? And what brought you here? You know, don't say my car. But, you know, somehow there's all little events occurring in your past life that brings you to this point. And with Buddhism, we get a great opportunity to find real, authentic peace and happiness forever, not just for short periods. So, give yourself a big pat on the back and give your previous self a pat on the back. Does anyone have any questions you would like to ask? Okay, shall we take a break? So we can come back at 12 o'clock, I think.
Yes, 12 o'clock. Tea, coffee in the cafe.
It's not instant coffee.
Well, I don't know whether we've got barista.
Might be instant.
Do you all wait for coffee? Yeah. Don't all the time. Come on. Yes, this is yes, he's recovering on his way back. So many people.
So many people.
Oh.
Yeah.
I've got a question. Yes, she has. Over a week, yeah. She is. But she said she couldn't be today. The weather.
That's the
Yeah.
thing, and I think about
There's
this
a lot more people booked in today, but so we've made brave, you guys, well done. Your cars might not be there when you go, or might not be on the streets when you go out.
I know, sort of looking at the trees and around the park. There'll be any buses.
No, don't worry, I think.
Lisa,
Lisa, as well, yeah. Yes, yeah. Oh,
Yes.
I mean, it's never be doing the teaching, so. Going on level list.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, and I went to St. Helens again, and
So we begin with liberating prayer.
O Blessed One, Shakyamuni Buddha, precious treasury of compassion, bestower of supreme inner peace, you who love all beings without exception, are the source of happiness and goodness, and you guide us to the liberating path. Your body is a wish-fulfilling jewel. Your speech is supreme purifying nectar, and your mind is refuge for all living beings. With folded hands I turn to you, supreme unchanging friend. I request from the depths of my heart, please give me the light of your wisdom to dispel the darkness of my mind, and to heal my mental continuum. Please nourish me with your goodness, that I in turn may nourish all beings with an unceasing banquet of delight. Through your compassionate intention, your blessings and virtuous deeds, and my strong wish to rely upon you, may all suffering quickly cease, and all happiness and joy be fulfilled, and may holy Dharma flourish forevermore.
And so again we can meditate. So often when we try to meditate, it seems as if our mind gets even busier, jumping around to all kinds of different thoughts. So we can deal with this simply by imagining that the world outside just disappears. So imagine that the whole world of all the continents, the great cities and oceans, mountains, forests, everything disappears into empty space. And as the whole world is shrinking until all that remains is this city, as if the city itself is suspended alone in empty space. And then even the city itself begins to disappear. The river, the great buildings, the docks, all the roads, the houses, shops, parks, schools, hospitals, until all that remains is this room. And then even the room itself begins to disappear. The ceiling, the walls, the statues, everyone else in the room, even all the furniture, and eventually the floor and the chair on which you're sitting. So all that remains is you, your body and your mind, as if you're suspended alone in empty space. So bring your mind back to this mind of gratitude. For the things you have in your life, the people you have in your life right now. The people who work in the grocery store where you buy your food. The people who look after your car. The people you live with. Your doctor who takes care of your health. Pharmacy, where you get medicines. The people you work with. The company who gives you a job. Friends from whom you receive companionship and connection. All of them are worthy of your care and love and gratitude. So imagine you're repaying their kindness. With your own wishes for them to experience happiness and freedom from suffering. Thank you. So now you can begin to relax your concentration. And when you're ready, you can arise from meditation. So, if we think about our mind, how we experience things with our mind, this is called a component of mind called feeling. Feelings are aspects of our mind. And we have pleasant feelings, we have neutral feelings, and we have unpleasant feelings. So throughout our life we've been having all kinds of experiences. And we come to realize that we think about our mind as it's not a physical thing. It's just like, best way we can think about it is like empty space. But unlike the empty space that you see in this room or outside, this empty space of our mind, this space like empty of our mind, can understand things and know things and experience things. And we only know and experience things with our mind. So because our mind is not physical, it never dies, it's always there. It's always been there since beginningless time, since prehistoric, pre-dinosaur times. You can't remember that now. So, but if you were to try to trace back the first moment of your mind, you think, oh, I found the first moment, and I can remember that one. But then you realize there must have been a moment before that, because each moment of mind leads to its next moment. You know, we have this mental continuum, this stream of consciousness, sometimes it's called. So this stream implies it's just one moment of thought leading to the next one. You know this, when often we try to focus our mind on one thing, and so it leads to a whole series of other things that we think about. So if our mind has been beginningless, and we've had past lives, our mind has been associated with bodies in our previous life. It's associated with this body, well, not this one, but you have your own one, in this lifetime. But before you were born, you had a previous life where your mind was associated with a different body. And then the life before that body was born, that life was born, then you had another life, and so on. You keep going back and back and back, and you've had countless lives and countless bodies in the past. Yeah? You okay with that? So, in reality, most people think that they've had past lives. Yeah. Most people think they were princes and princesses in previous lives. Maybe they were. But if that is the case, then every time we had a past life, every time we have a life, we're born. We're born into that life. We're not just found in a cabbage patch. We're born. We go through this process of birth. And every time we're born, we have a mother. So think of the mother of this life. How, when we came into this, at the point of conception, you know, our mother was forced to carry us around for 9 months. Yeah. And she was delighted to do that. Very often. Imagine a complete stranger coming to your door and saying, "I come to stay with you for 9 months. You're going to have to feed me and take care of me. I'm going to cause you a lot of problems. I'm going to make you sick." And so, and she welcomes you into her body. And she cares for you. She tries to eat the best food, avoid smoking and drinking and so on, all that stuff. So you grow and you're healthy. And then 9 months later, you cause her extraordinary pain. And then you're born. So you come into this life. But you had this person caring for you all that time. And it doesn't stop. I mean, the minute you're born, you know, the nurses kind of grab you, wrap you up, cut the umbilical cord and slap you on your mother's chest. And she's delighted to see you. She's been waiting to see you for ages, all this time. And she's delighted to see you and care for you and cherish you, as if you're the most important thing in her life. And it doesn't stop there. You know, she makes sure that you have all the best things that she can provide. Keeps you warm, keeps you safe, keeps you clean, keeps you healthy. And so you grow. She creates this environment for you in which you can grow and you can learn new things. She teaches you, helps you how to walk, you know, how to eat your food and without making a mess and so on. And so she's always there, caring for you, watching over you. Never stops. And she's so proud of you, and throughout your life as you grow, as you accomplish things, she's delighted to see you taking your first steps. She's delighted to send you off to school and so on. She's delighted to have you come home and tell you what you've been doing and what you've been learning. And so this person has been extraordinarily kind to you, but it's not just the mother of this life who's been caring for you. It's the mother of your previous life as well, and the one before that, and the one before that. And so we come to realize that every time we were born, every time we had a mother, there was someone who was looking after us, or caring for us. And without that care and attention, we wouldn't have survived. You know, if you see these animal pictures on the television and internet and so on, you see mothers defending their children from predators and so on. You know, mothers prepared to give up their lives just so the children can be saved. And so it's extraordinary kindness that we've received from countless mothers in the past. And it's not just, we're not the only ones who've had previous lives. All the mothers that we had, indeed the mother of this life, they had previous lives too. And so also when we die, the end of this life, the end of this body, then our mind moves to its next life and has another body. And the same with it's been happening with us in the past, and it happens with our mothers as well. So we come to realize that all the mothers that we've had in the past, they didn't just stop being our mother, they took rebirth, life after life as well, and so they take rebirth into this very life that we're having. And the problem is we don't recognize them, you know, because we had completely different form, completely different bodies than the ones we had in the past. But if we understand just the nature of our mind as this formless continuum of thought and mental energy that goes from life to life to life, and how in every life we've had a mother, and we were born, we had someone looking after us, being kind to us. Where are all these mothers today? Where are all the mothers of your past life? Where are they today? Oh, some of them are here in this room. Everyone, Buddha said, there's no doubt that every living being has been our mother at one time or other. If you do the maths, we've had infinite number of lives in the past, infinite number of mothers. There's a finite number of minds, fixed number of minds, and you can't get any new minds. And so the probability that any one person has been our mother is infinite, is certain. So turn to the person nearest to you and say, "Hello, Mum." Why don't you recognize me? I was so kind to you in the past. What are you doing? Do you know, if you were meeting the mother that you had in your last life, if you were convinced that you were meeting this person, you would realize that the mother that you had then is significant and plays a major part in who you are today. And so you have this special feeling towards them. If you're meeting this person, you've never seen them before, they have a completely different shape and so on. But intuitively you know, this is my mother. This was my mother of my last life. You realize you have this special connection with them. And so it's very easy then to think, I want to get to know this person. I want to help them. I want to find out, spend time with them, have coffee, go for lunch together, get their phone number, their mobile phone number. And so you can see that you want to know, to be close to them. And you want to help them if whatever problems they have. And you want to be kind to them. And so in effect this applies to anybody. Anybody could have been your mother of your last life. We just don't know. But if we understand the logic and we understand the nature of our mind, then we come to realize how feasible this is. That anybody we meet, you get on a bus and the bus conductor, the bus driver, could have been our mother of a previous life. And so if we begin to think in this way, we begin to realize that the kindness that we've received from countless people around us. Anyone in Liverpool could have been your mother of your last life. And anyone in Liverpool has been your mother at one time or other. Has been someone who cared for you. That's all you have to think of. Any individual in Liverpool could be someone that cared for you in some way or other. So we have that connection. So imagine if we had this mind that every time we meet someone, every time we think someone, we have this mind of gratitude towards them, realizing that somehow or other they're intrinsically involved in who we are today. All the goodness that we have today, all the benefits, the joy that we have, anyone in Liverpool is intrinsically involved in bringing us happiness today. Not just Mo Salah, but many other people. And so when we begin to think like that, what happens with our own, the way we kind of spend our day thinking, and therefore the feelings that we have? When we begin to think that, we have more positive feelings, more feelings of joy and happiness, because we're taking the focus of ourself, our miserable self. We're not just in a little bubble. We become more outward looking. We're not just thinking about how things are not happening for us, or what we're not getting out of life, and the disappointments we have, the difficulties we've had. We begin to think about the goodness that we've had, and so on, and how it comes from other people. And so just thinking about how everyone is our mother is so easy to develop the mind of love and compassion. Because when we see people, when we taking the focus off ourselves and thinking more about other people, we begin, I always say this, we begin to see how they are. It is said that 60% of communication is non-verbal. 60% of communication is non-verbal. So just the way people hold themselves and conduct themselves physically, you see their pain, you see their difficulties just by watching them. And I think part of our problem is we don't watch other people all that much. It's almost, they're just like ghosts passing us in the street. And when we place the focus of our attention, thinking, oh, this person is important to me, then we begin to see who they really are and how everyone is suffering, how everyone is experiencing difficulties and problems on a daily basis. And so we can begin to develop these beautiful minds of not just love but compassion. From gratitude comes love. From love comes compassion. From compassion comes enlightenment. Because it's this mind of compassion that drives us to think, oh, I cannot bear their suffering. If you think you're speaking to the mother of your past life, and you realize she's suffering, you think, I cannot bear for this person to suffer. I'll do whatever it takes to free this person from their suffering, to take it away. And that thought alone is driving us to become the best we can be. It's driving us to be able to seek the spiritual power and energy to be able actually to take away their suffering. In the same way that Siddhartha, when he realized that everyone was not just like the people who lived in the palace, the royal palace, when he went to the local town, he realized the real condition of living beings was things like aging, sickness, and death, and so on. And he realizes this, it's actually a state of suffering. This is what we all endure. Anyone not experienced suffering this week, today? And so we come to realize this is the underlying nature of everyone. And so Siddhartha decides he can't bear to think about all this ocean of suffering. So he decides to leave the palace and go on a spiritual journey so he can find the way out of suffering, not just for himself, but for everyone. And so he frees himself from suffering first through the power of his own meditation, and then he teaches others how to do the same. And so we have these teachings that he gave 2,500 years ago, right down to the same, unchanged, same things, right down to the present day. And it's all reflected. I mean, we couldn't, if we, in books like this, How to Transform Your Life, and all of Venerable Geshe-la's books and texts, they're showing us how we can not only free ourselves from suffering by developing minds of love and compassion and wisdom, but how we can lead others to do the same. And the reason that we should do this, because there's no more meaningful thing we can do. We think most of our life is in pursuit of ordinary things, like supporting the right football team, and so on, or having the best house, or the best car, or the best friend, the best holiday, and so on, and so forth. At the end of the day, when we're dying, none of that is meaningful. You imagine we're lying on our deathbed and someone comes and said, oh, Liverpool has won the championship. Big deal. Especially if you're an Everton supporter. And then someone says, oh, you've just won the lottery. Oh my goodness, what is, nothing like that matters. The only thing that matters is what you have in your heart. And that's all because it's only your mind that's going to your next life. You're leaving the body behind. And so, have we developed the mind of gratitude? Have we developed the mind of love at that moment? Or are we thinking, poor me, it's not fair? Yeah. So we have a choice. We can choose. We can choose to develop these beautiful minds of love and compassion. And what I'm saying is that if we just think about the benefit that we see from other people, then naturally we begin to have this mind of thanks. Thank you for being here. Thank you for having cared for me. Thank you for having taught me these things. Thank you for looking after me, being my doctor, the nurse that helps you, and so on. And then from that mind of gratitude develops the wish for others to be happy, for others to have good conditions, and so on. And so we're taking away this thought that we're just in isolation, and we're coming to work on and react to the interactions that we realize that we have with other people. And so spontaneously our whole world improves. There's I can find it. Essentially, we're just enabling ourselves to overcome all these types of mind that cause us many, many problems. So gratitude helps people to focus on the positive aspects of their life. It can help build and maintain relationships with others, resulting in hope, life satisfaction, and more proactive behaviors towards others. Changes anger to love, isolation to interconnectedness, self-absorption and narcissism to caring and helping, changing arrogance to entitlement to humility and gratitude, changes suffering to freedom, illness to health, depression to happiness and peace. So, just with this mind and developing this mind of gratitude is many, many good changes occurring. And many people these days are doing journaling, just thinking, just writing down each day what they feel gratitude for. It could be having jam to put on your bread or what, just from the very mundane and simple things to the relationships that we have that we enable, that we're thankful for, the jobs we have, the health we have, etc., etc. So it just becomes a very personal thing, but in general, it's maintaining and developing these minds of love and compassion and interconnectedness with other people that has many, many, many good results. But one of the important things that we need to be grateful for is our opportunity to become the best we can be. We've been struggling around for much of our life, trying to deal with the negative feelings and irritations and so on, and not finding any way of finding real peace and happiness. We've tried many, many different things, like food, and it was a time when many people turned to smoking and having relationships, alcohol, funny cigarettes, and so on, and drugs, in pursuit of overcoming feelings of alienation and disappointments and just lack of peace, lack of happiness. But somehow or other we stumbled on a perfect way, a perfect journey to find real, authentic peace and happiness, realizing it doesn't come from anything external. It doesn't even come from chocolate. It comes from our own mind. Happiness is a state of mind. Happiness and suffering also is a state of mind. You could have the same situation. Two people have experiencing this exactly the same event or phenomenon. Like two people go to a movie. You go to a movie with your friend, and you come out later, and one thinks, "Oh, that was amazing, so interesting." The other thinks, "Oh, it was so dull." And what has happened is that there's no movie that exists separate from our mind. There's no movie that exists separate from our mind. So the only movie that exists is the one that's in our mind. For one person, it's a delightful movie. For the other person, it's boring. It's a waste of time. So which would you like to be? Would you like to be the one that experiences the dull, boring movie, or the one who experiences the happy, joyful movie? And all it is, it depends upon your mind. And if we develop positive minds of arising from love and compassion, then we will experience joy, much more joy, throughout our life. And that's all we have to do. All we have to do is to work to develop these minds of love and compassion and wisdom. And everything else falls into place. There's a wonderful 2 sentences. I think it's on page 100 of this. The path to enlightenment is really very simple. On page 100. The path to enlightenment is really very simple. There you have it. We think it's so difficult and complicated that we could never accomplish it. But here, this enlightened being is saying the path to enlightenment is really very simple. All we have to do is stop cherishing ourselves. Stop thinking about ourselves all the time. Stop just promoting ourselves. When we develop a mind of love, we automatically reduce just promoting ourselves all the time. And we begin to promote the wealth and happiness of other people. All we have to do is stop cherishing ourselves and learn to cherish others. So part of that process of learning to cherish others is developing the realization of how interconnected we are with other people, how we receive so much goodness and benefit from other people, from the actions of other people. And so gratitude, this, just thinking about this and wishing to repay that kindness is a major step in learning to cherish others. All we need to do is stop cherishing ourselves and learn to cherish others. All other spiritual realizations on the stages of the path, on the path to enlightenment, will naturally follow from this. So it's like, think of the analogy of, these moving the walkways at the airport. You just get on the end of the walkway and it just goes, it takes you to where you want to go. Well, learning to cherish others is like that. We just start to learn to cherish others. Part of that is this process of thinking about how grateful we are to other people. And we start to develop this mind of love that cherishes others. And then naturally, because we experience the good results that come from that, we end up where we want to go. State of enlightenment. We take off on a British Airways state of enlightenment. And it's much better than Malaga or Hora. Well, Malaga is not bad because one of our temples is in Malaga. And you can get enlightened in that temple. But you can get enlightened in KMC Liverpool as well. So, how fortunate are we to be able to access this walkway to enlightenment? There's nothing more fortunate in our life to have access to Buddhist teachings. Because eventually, if we engage with it, it solves all our problems. All our suffering is just a state of mind. I'm not saying that our experiences change. Well, actually they do. Because we can just decide this experience is a cause of happiness. In the same way we can decide this experience of being at the movie is a state of happiness. This storm is a state of happiness. It's beneficial. Keeps us indoors. And so on. And so we can just change our mind. It's the only thing that we really have any possibility of control over. We just change our mind, and so we change our experiences. Instead of cherishing ourselves all the time, cherish others, and you change your experiences. You create happiness. You create the cause of happiness. You create the cause of freedom from suffering. So let's meditate on that. So for a few moments again, just watch the rhythm of your breathing. And then you can think how fortunate I am that I found my way to Buddha's teachings. That countless living beings have taken to heart over the past 2,500 years, and experienced the benefit of happiness and freedom that comes from incorporating these teachings and practicing them in their lives. How fortunate I am that I have now found this opportunity. Because I tried so many other things in my pursuit of happiness and freedom, but none of them have really worked. But now I have the opportunity to create the cause of happiness and freedom within my own mind. Now I can come to realize that the path to enlightenment is really very simple. All I have to do is to stop cherishing myself and come to cherish only others. All the other realizations will naturally follow. All I have to do is to stop cherishing myself and come to cherish only others. So developing this mind of gratitude is helping me to accomplish this, because it makes me realize the benefit I receive from countless other living beings. And when I contemplate this benefit, it becomes so much easier to cherish them. And eventually, although I will still care for myself, I will stop cherishing myself, thinking I'm so important. So I feel great gratitude not only to the founder of Buddhism, but all the teachers and lineage gurus over the past 2,500 years. I feel great gratitude to my spiritual guide, Geshe Kelsang Gyatso, who has created this tradition of modern teachings and modern Buddhism, created all the Buddhist centers, created 6 temples, created 23 Dharma texts that explain all of Buddha's teachings, all of which enable us to follow this path to enlightenment. So I can feel an ocean of gratitude to all those who have gone before, to all those Buddhas and teachers, and particularly my spiritual guide, Geshe Kelsang Gyatso Rinpoche, who's leading me to enlightenment the state of permanent peace and happiness. And we can realize that the best way to express this gratitude is to put his teachings into practice. This is what delights our spiritual guide most. When students or disciples put the teachings into practice. And so you think, I can do this. And this is what I will do. Not only can I do it, I will do it. I will put Venerable Geshe-la's teachings into practice. Hold that one thought. This is your expression of gratitude to this golden opportunity that you have to become an extraordinary person. last 2 minutes, make a strong determination to practice this mind of gratitude in all its various ways. So now you can begin to relax your concentration once more. And again, when you're ready, you can arise from meditation. So when we're out of meditation, when we're going about our busy life, we just try to remember to express gratitude for whatever's happening. You know, the bus comes along on time, you're grateful. Bus doesn't come along, you're grateful. For the opportunity to practice patience. You're grateful for the annoying people in your life. It helps you to overcome your negative minds and helps you to practice patience. So if you have someone who's annoying in your life, treasure them because they can help you. Does anyone have any questions? Shall we finish? Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks everyone for coming. We'll be teaching. I know that we've all had great benefits from it. So next week, have a really good look at this leaflet and read what it says on the back of the bell. It's the Wheel of Life. And again, Thurber will introduce it to us and break it down into exactly what it's telling us. And it's so useful. So important, so beneficial, so profound. And the night before, Friday night, is movie night, so we've got the actual movie of The Wheel of Life, which is free. You don't have to come to the course to go to the movie. So you can come to the movie. I think it's 6 o'clock here at the centre. I'm going to have it in the cafe. popcorn. That I'm going to guess. And 5 hours on a popcorn. Yeah, so that'd be nice if you would like to do that. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
See you there. Oh, wild. Okay, wild. Oh.
Does it create a different
Oh, yeah.
No, I just want to say to her, I've only here for a few weeks. But I'll ask her for a couple of things to do because
Yes. You have asked, or you
no,
will.
they'll
Yeah, do ask. Be more near at the time.
I'm just interested for everyone.
Oh, yes.
Thanks again. See you then.
The, you got
My auntie's going there.
Oh, I see. See that?
Yeah.